Hey guys, and in today's video we'll learn about psychology for 5 days. Let's see how far we can go.
Well, what are the cognitive biases? These are systematic errors which are disturbing our logical thinking. So we all humans think emotional. It's systematic errors which are disturbing our logical thinking to the emotional and instinctive thinking. For example, you saw a news about crushing the cars, and if you see, for example, not a news about crushing the car, it will be confirming your information, so you'll be more confident, although it makes literally no sense, right? So this is how the logic and cognitive biases in our brains and our making decisions are working. Thanks for watching, appreciate it, and until the next day, Much memory, how you process memory, for example, sensory memory, which is based about feelings. For example, I touch this pen, I feel the feeling, but I'll forget it in a few seconds. This is how sensory memory works. Then the short memory, it's the memory, for example, you have the Wi-Fi password and you have to kind of remember this password, right? And you just remember this password to just kind of spell it out or write it down. This is everything about short memory. The long memory, the main memory, which is not limited by us. So theoretically, we could learn really much stuff without any limits in this long memory. Now we have two types of long memory. It's called explicit, remembering your first day of the high school, for example, right? You remember your first day at the high school, and this is called explicit. So it's the feeling plus memory, and you just remember this. Number two, it's called implicit. Is just automatic thinking. For example, you're riding a bike, you just know automatically what you're riding, why you're driving this, right? Riding. Why am I saying riding? That's weird. Yeah, this is just automatic things. For example, if someone says yellow, you recognize it as a yellow color in front of you, so you can just understand this color. This is pretty interesting, right? It's just, for example, testing yourself. Process of memory. For example, testing yourself. For example, you have to for example, the test in Friday, right? And you have to prepare for the math test. So encoding is just testing yourself for the test, basically, right? And number two is called storage. Pretty simple. Sleeping after studying helps consolidate what you've learned. So it's the state where you just kind of try to kind of process this information and store this information in your head here. The number three is called retrieval. Example, smelling sunscreen might trigger memories of beach vacations. So for example, it based on feeling, right? So for example, you feel the sun and you like feeling, oh, I remember that day I was in Spain, like at a beach, chilling with my friends. I really remembered it. So it's kind of memorizing through emotions, through emotional instincts. For example, you probably remember when you first time fall out of your bike if you were driving it. This like physical emotional thing, right? And it's called relevant, right? Or we can just forget someone's name although we know it, right? And there are three key theories of this. Level of processing. As example, memorying cat. Better if you think about your own pet cat rather than just whether the word is in uppercase letter, right? So if the word, for example, bike, is with big letters, right? Uppercase letters, exactly. You think that it's kind of not you, it's just a regular bike. But if it's with down caps letters, with the small letters, you kind of think that it's your bike. It's like normally. And if it's big, you think general. If it's small, it's like your. It's just the feeling, right? Number two is working memory. Repeating one number in your head, for example, divide by password, or just your general telephone number. Visualizing map while giving directions, for example, right? You have your recall memory with this visualizing because you saw this memory, you feel this, and that's why you remember this. These are triggers, emotions through which you remember things, basically. And number 3 is called constantly fuse. Example: a child learns about gravity not just being told about something about gravity, but he like experiment why everything is falling down. Everything is falling down. Why is it like that? And he asked those questions, and that's why he got answers. So he knew because of feelings of falling something down, for example, right? A coin, a bracelet, whatever, right? He's falling something down. So this is how constructive views is functioning, right? And there are 5 points by forgetting memory errors. It's called just forgetting memory errors. Yeah, but how can you forget? Like DK, forgetting the most of forgetting language you haven't practiced for years. For example, I've learned Spanish. I didn't practice it really at school, and I can just forget some words, but it doesn't mean that I really systematically lose this skill, because I have still something here in my brain. For example, with French, I learned French back I was in school, and after this I've got into another school, college, so to say, in my country, and then there I've learned kind of a few phrases, and now I know something more, but it does not feel that I learned something more, you know, because I knew this kind of previously, and that's the main thing, basically. So the number 2 is called proactive interface. Writing last year's date, 2024, at least, instead of 2025. For example, if you had a test in a new year, you was pretty excited, and you like writing down, and you like writing 2024. Just coincidence, you know, 2024, although it's already 2025. This is pretty interesting, forgetting memory, so this is really cool. It's not forgetting, it's just kind of dismissing the fact that it's 2025 instead of 2024, although, yeah. The number 4 is called retrieval failure. Tip of the tongue when you can't recall word, but know its first letter. Yeah, that's pretty weird to explain this word, but it's really interesting, by the way. And I'll just research it quick. Do I have? I kind of still record my screen, like it's recording like 40 minutes. That's so weird. Yeah, just you don't know how to spell the word, and you just remember the first name, for example, of the name. Oh, what's your name? Something on B. I remembered, like, oh yeah, Brian, exactly, Brian, something like that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is like retrieval failure. Just you kind of dig it out without even realizing that you forget it. It's weird. Psychological basis, hippocampus. It's the part of the brain, the main, I guess so. I'm not sure, but you will see it on the screen here. Remembering what you ate for the last night, so you just remembered it. Like, this is the part where you just remembered. I didn't want to get bored with this. Oh, this is a difficult name. Amygdala. Strong memory of where you were during the scary event. For example, you feel like those emotions, and you really deeply understand and cannot forget this moment. The next one is called Cerebellum. Learning to balance on a skateboard. You kind of cannot express this feeling, but it's pretty interesting to like feel it. But you cannot just express this feeling because of feeling. It's pretty cool, I think. Yeah. The last one is called prefrontal cortex. Yeah, exactly. Keeping track of steps in a math problem. For example, in a math problem, like I said before, you have really much steps. in front of you, and you just kind of, you know, have to remember where the step begins, the step starts, to solve those equation problems in this case. Applied learning strategies. So here is what and how to learn. But just remember, the best way to learn is to test yourself, right? The most time you're learning for school. For example, if you're learning it for you, like I'm doing now, I'm learning for me, I'm explaining it to you, and I love this process because I'm learning for me, and the most knowledge is coming from self-education. But the most people unfortunately learn only for tests and for grades. So just test yourself, test until you just perfect. That's all you actually need for this all. Yeah. Retrieval practice. Quiz yourself for definition instead of rewriting notes. So instead of rewriting notes, you just test yourself like I said before, basically. And laborative richness. A weird name. Linking photosynthetic to plants synagogue. You kind of visualize things, basically. Dual coding. Using diagram alongside written explanations in biology. Just using diagrams without explanation by writing. What? Using diagrams alongside written explanation in biology. Okay, dual coding, just kind of dual learning with two separate stuff, like with explanation and with the diagrams, so you can just realize this everything in your head, right? Interleaving. Interesting. Mixing algebra, geometry. So it's just mix of everything to learn everything. It's just efficiency of learning, basically. And the last one, what we've learned today, is memory in everyday learning. So for example, learning language. Use Duolingo to space practice to recall vocabulary. So for example, in Duolingo you see much text of it, and with those characters you're just kind of memorizing those things. You're memorizing the feeling, memorizing the thought. This is how you really learn the language, right? In this case, although Duolingo it's not the best one, but I think it's one of the greatest, I would say, for now. Skill acquisition. Practicing piano scales until they become automatic. So basically, like with the car, if you can draw the car, drive. Yeah. What's going on with my language? If you can drive a car, you just practice until it gets automatic. Just you gotta go to the top, you just pick up the car, start it up with your key, and just it's kind of, you don't even realize, just slowly pressing on the pedals and just moving down, and then, you know, just automatic. And the last one is called metacognition. Realizing only you think you understand a topic until you try to explain it to someone else. Realizing, just hear me out. Realizing you only think you understand a topic until you try to explain it to someone. Realizing you until think you understand the topic until you try to explain it to someone. It means that if you explain it, you really deeply understand it, right? If you can explain something, for example, math equation, 2 plus 2 plus 2, what kind of shit is that, right? If you cannot explain it clearly with the simplest language possible, the same theorem, right? So try to explain something before you learn something. Like I'm making it now, so I'm explaining. I'm currently learning about this. I can speak about this 1 million years straight without any breaks, right? That's crazy. Anyways, this is all we've learned today. Everything we've learned today. I don't want a video to be so long. Actually, I've recorded the previous one where I just read it and deeply like speak about every single fucking sentence in this topic. But yeah, I guess I'll not space it in, because 40 minutes it's pretty much enough to explain everything. And today I'm on fire, I would say. Today I'm an explanation, dude. I'm just speaking as I don't know what, like the profi one, I don't know. Yeah, this was all what we've learned today about memory in learning psychology, with examples, of course. So I've explained each stage of this and explained it really deeply to you, so you can get it as well. On your place, I would get notes and explain it to yourself so you can understand it really deeply. Anyway, thanks for watching.
Hey, in today's video we're learning about motivation. What do you think about motivation if you hear motivation? Personally, I think that that's just the short-term pleasure. If you're motivated only for 1 day, for 1 hour, for 2 hours maximum, right? So you forget it and it's the short-term motivation. So motivation explains why behavior begins, intends, and stops. Habit explains why behavior persists automatically. A successful life change often needs both motivation to start and the habit to continue and the habit to sustain. So yeah, and anyways, appreciate your watching, your attention, thank you, and let's go to the next day. Hey guys, today we learn psychology and influence. So, social psychology is a specific study how people think, feel, and behave in social situations. It looks at how individuals are influenced by the presence of the others. So, we're basically, for example, if you in a stadium with big persons, influenced people, much social people, and just much people, you just behave based on others and not based on you. Whatever those others are real, imagined or implied. Example, imagine you're at a concert and everyone suddenly starts clapping in a rhythm. Even if you aren't playing to clap, you might join it. This is social psychology in action. It studies the processes behind why you follow the crowd. What is social influence actually? Social influence, it's the key area within social psychology. It refers to the way in which people change their behaviors because of others, directly or indirectly. These are three main types. Conformity, adjusting others' behaviors or thinking too much the group. Example, in Solo Nom Ash famous experiment, participants gave the wrong answer about line length just because others in the group gave the same answer. The next one is called compliance, changing behavior because of request without authority. Example, a charity workers asking you to donate money, you may completely even if you didn't plan to. Obedience, the next one, following direct orders from an authority figure. Example, Santley Miglam's experience showed that people are willing to administer what they thought were harmful electric shocks to others just because an authority told them to. Interesting. Everyday examples to social psychology influence. Peer pressures. Teenager may smoke or drink because their friends do it as well. Yeah, this is really good everyday example of bad habits and how you can just grab them all because of your bad friends. Advancing. Companies use celebrities endorsements to custom comply with buying their products so they can just build trust basically. This is how marketing works, right? Authority figures. People might follow traffic rules strictly when they see a police officer. Obedience. Because just it's a police officer and you gotta kind of listen up, you know. Group behavior. Sports fan might chant loudly in a stadium, even if they won't normally should like that in everyday life. Yeah, it's because of group and because of influence of the crowd. And here we have a text where it mixes all together. What is social psychology and social influence in everyday life? Social psychology is a study of how people's thoughts, feelings, and actions are shaped by the others. It helps us understand why people behave so differently in groups than when they are alone. A big part of social psychology is social influence, which describes how other affect on decisions and behavior. Social influence can happen in different ways. For example, people often conform to group people, like laughing. Finally, people are demonstrate abundance, following direct instructions from authority figures, even when those instructions go against their personal behaviors. So, in everyday life, these processes are everywhere. Peer pressure in schools, marketing strategies in business, and rules enforced by authorities all show how powerful social influence can really be. Social influence can remind us that we're not just individuals making decisions in isolation, but our social world shapes us constantly, and this is how we make decisions based on social and our environment around us. Thanks for watching. Hello all of you, today we're learning about psychology, emotional and personalities. It's a pretty interesting topic with the unique personalities by people and how emotions are working a bit deeply. So, in psychology, personality prefers to contain patterns of thoughts, feelings and behaviors that make each person unique. Psychologists often describe personality using train theories such as Big Five model, openness, how curious and creative someone is, consciousness, how organized and responsible they are, extroversions, how outgoing and energetic they are, agreeableness, how kind and operative they are, and neurocrime, how prone they are to negative emotions. For example, highly conscious people might always keep their workspace tight and feel deadlines on time, while someone high extroversion might enjoy being the center of attention at social events. Personality threats to main relativity stable over time, but it can also be shaped by life experience and environment. So here, psychologists, scientists are testing thoughts, feelings, behaviors on a unique person, and there are two types of person. And there are two types of person. One type is type that likes being in attention and the center of the crowd, and number two, which don't likes it and likes to have the tiny workspace to work in. In the other hand, emotions are short-term, intense responses to specific events and situations. So it's just short-term kind of emotional. So short-term emotional intense response, it goes just out for a short term because of our circumstances, situation, or our events we're in. They involve psychological changes like increased heart rate. For example, if we are aggressive or nervous, or if we are laughing, we experiencing something new, you just feel this that your heart is beating a bit on a higher frequency, right? Cognitive interpretation, how we make sense of the situation, and expressive behaviors like smiling, flowing. Emotions such as Paul Ekman identified basic emotions like happiness, sadness, anger, fear, surprise, and which are universally recognized. For example, if you narrowly avoid a car accident, you might feel fear, your body might tie up, your heart races, and you may later reflect on how dangerous the situation was. This is how our brain basically works, yeah? I'll read it again. For example, if you're narrowly avoiding a car accident, you're avoiding this, you have fear of it, like you might feel fear, right? Like I said, your body might tease up, your heart rate raises, and you might later reflect on how dangerous the situation actually was. Interesting. Personality, our emotions are connected, but not the same. Personality influence how people typically experience and express emotions. For instance, someone high in neurocrine might experience stronger and more frequent negative emotions, like anxiety or sadness, which are extravagant, may experience positive emotions like joy more kind of often. At the same time, emotions can be influence behavior in the moment, regretness or personality. For example, even a calm and agreeable person might share in anger if provoked in an unfair situation. So together, personality provides the tendencies, while emotions represent the dynamic of moment to moment reactions. Both shape how we relate to other and create the world. So, today we've talked about personalities and about emotions. It's the day 5, it's the final day. So if you really watch until the end, I really appreciate your attention because I know that it might be really boring in the end and in the last part where you talk about decision making, for example. It was pretty boring, I know, but it's cool. And if you really watch until the end, I really appreciate it. You're crazy. Thanks for watching, and until the next video.